Hello, friends. Welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. It is so crazy to think that it is the new year already. I cannot believe that 2022 flew by so fast. It is just crazy. Um, so when I started thinking about doing my year in review for 2022, all I could think about was I had surgery. And for those of you who follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, or even on Snapchat, you you know that I have had quite an ordeal this last year with my surgery, which I'll go into more details about that later. But I was thinking it was just a year of surgery, and I really until I sat down and started looking through my photo album because I keep like a photo album type journal of the entire year. So I sat down last night and I was looking through my 2022 photo album and I forgot about a lot of stuff. So it was more than just surgery. There was a lot of stuff going on last year. So I am going to start from the beginning, from what I can remember, from the pictures that I took, the notes that I put in my journal. I'm just gonna, kind of recap everything that happened. So a lot happened for sure. So before I really go into a lot of details about what happened throughout the year, if you're new here, just to recap. So my YouTube channel is basically for me to share information to inspire, motivate, encourage other people to take care of themselves, to live a healthy lifestyle. I kind of call my page my Fit Life Secrets, sharing secrets to living a fit life. And it's all about exercise. It's about eating right. It's about just making healthy choices. It's about being mentally, financially, physically fit and healthy. So to me, sometimes that includes just doing fun stuff and family. And you see videos of my dog Oakley because he's part of my family. And I think that just doing fun stuff is part of living a healthy lifestyle because helps with your mental well-being, just being happy and being at peace with every aspect of your life. So, a big part of my channel and my Fit Life Secrets is sharing what I eat. I follow a ketovore, carnivore eating plan. And so that is the primary focus of my channel and what I share. However, I do share exercise. And like I said, I just share a lot of just fun stuff. So, just to recap, in 2015, I started really trying to eat better, exercise, take care of myself. Fast forward after a lot of trial and error, trying different things. Finally, in 2019, I started the keto diet and I did that through 2020. And then in 2021, I learned about the carnivore eating plan, which is basically keto without vegetables and nuts. It's basically just eating the protein and fat. Um, so in 2021, I experimented more with just following a carnivore or ketovore way of eating. So ketovore would be carnivore, but still holding on to some of those other things. Like I still drink coffee. I still eat pickles. And every once in a while, if we go out to eat, I might still have like a side salad, but that's not part of my everyday routine. I have IBS. I have a lot of history with stomach issues, and they've greatly improved through changing what I was eating. And what I've learned is that vegetables do not make me feel good. So in 2021, that was kind of my main focus. And I'm not going to go into a lot of details about what happened in 2021 because you can go back and you can watch my year in review video from that year. I have a lot of information there. I went through some things, oxalate dumping when I first, transitioned to carnivore, just a lot of stuff. So my primary focus for 2021 was following a keto carnivore eating plan. And so going into this year, like I said, it's kind of hard to remember what happened the beginning of the year. So I'm glad that I took pictures. I'm glad that I kind of took some notes and journaled some things. So all that being said, I'll just get into 2022. It was quite a year. So I should also mention before I get into talking too much about everything that happened, throughout this video, I am going to probably reference some previous videos that I did record in 2022. And so I'm not going to review all of that information again. I'm just going to put some links down below to those videos if you decide that you want to watch those too. So anyway, beginning of the year, January. So in 2021, like I said, I had really been very focused on just following like a keto carnivore, more carnivore than anything, heavy meat-based eating plan. And so I was getting very bored with my food. The beginning of the year, I thought, I'm just going to start, eating other things because I was bored. I mean, basically, my primary eating plan was meat, eggs, cheese, butter. I mean, pickles, sometimes pickles. That was pretty much what I was eating, and I was getting really, really, really bored. So the beginning of the year, I started experimenting with eating more foods, not off plan completely. They were still keto friendly foods, but they were not the things that I had been eating. So so I started making fat bombs, like the chocolate chip cookie dough fat bombs that I used to eat when I first started following keto. Started making things like that. Started making pizza with a keto crust. So lots of almond flour that I wasn't used to eating. Making the keto pizza crust and then lots and lots of stuff on top, lots of vegetables. I did lots of pizzas with lots of vegetables because don't get me wrong, I love vegetables. Like, I wish that they didn't bother my stomach as much as they do. I wish that they didn't trigger the response in my body that they do because I love vegetables. I wish that I could eat them every single day as much as I want. But I can't. And I know that. But like I said, I was bored. So I was just trying to eat more things that were like normal, normal foods. And so I did a lot of experimenting. The other thing that I experimented with, which was a total disaster. I mean, so like doing the fat bombs once in a while, those were okay. They had almond flour in them. Doing the pizza, the keto pizza crust once in a while, that was okay. Eating the vegetables once in a while, that was okay. I wasn't noticing, anything too extremely negative from eating those things. So then I decided that I wanted to eat some keto treats. So I like started getting all these different keto treats to try, like these keto bars that, say they're keto friendly and they're low carb, full of fiber, full of sugar alcohols. but I wanted them because I just was so bored with what I was eating. I just wanted to go back to eating some of those fun keto treats. Well, so I started eating these keto protein bars and snack bars, and it was a disaster. So I instantly started feeling bad, like just tired, very like foggy. My brain was very foggy. My stomach was a disaster. All of the hard work I had put into, resolving my IBS issues, it just all went out the window, and I was having like major like pain, bloating, bathroom issues, all of the stuff that goes along with IBS. And it was very clear that it was because of those processed keto bars that I thought I just had to have. And it reminded me of why I went from keto to mostly carnivore. And it was because when I was eating keto, I was eating all of that garbage. I was eating all of the processed keto treats that are, supposed to be so keto friendly, but I didn't always feel my best when I was following keto. And that explains why, because I was eating all of that garbage. I was eating all of the nasty stuff that I shouldn't have been eating. So it didn't take me long into the new year of 2022 to realize that that was a mistake. I was doing okay with the vegetables. Like I said, I was doing okay with the keto pizza crust, things like that. But the keto treats, the keto bars, I cannot tolerate those. I learned that the hard way. So yeah, I quickly stopped eating those. So the other exciting thing that happened in 2022 is that my husband and I decided that we wanted to invest in an infrared sauna. So it's kind of cheesy. We got it off of Amazon. If you follow me on Instagram or on my Facebook page, you have seen me share snapshots of the sauna, of me sitting in the sauna. Let me just pause this here for a minute, and I will share a picture of it so that you can get the full understanding of kind of how cheesy this is, but it has been amazing. It truly has been amazing. Okay. So yes, it looks a little cheesy, but I have to say that it has been amazing. And if you have watched my video from 2021, I had some issues, some blood issues, very confusing, very scary issues with my blood, with my hematocrit, just some weird stuff, but I'm not going to go into a lot of details about that. You can go back and watch that if you want to know more. But since 2017, my hematocrit had been elevated like every time I had it checked, and I had to go to a hematologist. It was very stressful. Nothing that I would do would make those numbers come down. And after just a few months of using the sauna, the next time I went back and had my blood checked, my numbers were normal. And now that might just be a total coincidence. I don't know. But all I know is it was a lot of years of a lot of abnormal lab results. And after starting using the sauna, it just normalized. So I don't know. Maybe it's coincidence. Maybe there's something to it, but I don't know. I'm a believer. And I know there's a lot of stuff you can read out there about the benefits of using an infrared sauna. And all I know is it just feels good. It relaxes me. It makes me feel really good. I enjoy it. My husband does too. And so it's kind of a part of our normal routine now. We exercise, we sit in the sauna. It's just, I don't know, it's pretty awesome. So that's one of the changes we made for the year in 2022. And I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's a good change. like I said, you can get online and you can research this, and there are so many articles out there that you can read about the health benefits of an infrared sauna. So I'm a believer. So that's one of the things that we added to our routine in 2022. Another thing that I struggle with is I have a thyroid disorder. And so it was pretty exciting throughout the year. I really didn't have a lot of issues with my thyroid, which was very exciting because the year before had been a real roller coaster. I experimented with some thyroid supplements. It was just, I had a lot of things that happened. But 2022 was pretty good. Every time I had my labs checked with my doctor, my thyroid levels were good. I didn't have to really have a lot of medication changes through the year, which was nice. So every year in March, we always go on vacation. And that is like, I love vacation. I mean, I know everybody loves vacation, but I live for vacation. It's just the highlight of the year every time we get to take a vacation. So, in March, we always do a family trip to Arizona. And 2022 was different for me because every year that I can remember of my entire life, when I have gone on vacation, it has always been a time to just let go of all the rules, like just let go. Eat what I want, drink what I want, do whatever I want. Um, and so I had a mindset shift in 2022 because usually I would go on vacation. I would forget about all of my eating habits because I started doing keto in 2019. And then the only thing is every time I go on vacation, I would just go off keto and I would just eat what I want, do what I want, whatever. And I always ended up gaining like 10 pounds on vacation and feeling miserable. So in 2022, it was the first year I decided that I was going to stay completely on track while on vacation and just follow my keto eating plan. I wasn't going to, have those crazy days where I just eat all the crap and then feel miserable. Because honestly, when you're on vacation, you want to feel good. I mean, at least I want to feel good. I'm sure you want to feel good on vacation too. So why go on vacation? And then, so all this hard work of changing my eating habits to make my body feel good, then why would I want to just throw that out the window while I'm on vacation and make myself feel sick and miserable? And that's what I had always done before. Even before keto, when I was trying to eat healthy, I would still just on vacation, I didn't care. And so this year it was different. It was very different. So we went on vacation for a week, went to Arizona. Um, I I mean, yes, the temptation was there because there were a lot of things that I could have eaten that I kind of wanted to, but I knew if I eat that, it's going to make me feel like crap. And I want to feel good on vacation. And I did. I felt really good. So a lot of times on vacation, there's a lot of snacking. So that was a big, that was hard. But I just went to Walmart. Was it Walmart? It might have been one of their grocery stores. I don't know. We went to a store when we first got there to stock up on food and drinks and all that stuff. And I got this big, humongous container of pork rinds. And so, I'm so used to, always sitting around munching on crackers and chips and, stuff like that that makes you feel like crap. Well, this year I just got pork rinds. I got salsa. I got some chip dip because, I mean, honestly, sour cream is pretty keto friendly. There's still carbs in it, but it's still, pretty keto friendly. Um, and so I would just use my pork rinds with the salsa or with the chip dip. Got lots of like cheese. I took a lot of meat sticks with me, like the Chomps meat sticks, and they were a lifesaver, because when I felt like I needed to munch on something, then I had my meat sticks instead of reaching for potato chips or crackers or, all that other stuff. And as far as like meals would go, if we were eating at the house, then I basically would just focus on eating meat, meat, cheese, and sometimes like low carb veggies like salads. And same thing when we'd go out to eat. It's really easy to stay on keto. If you want to, it's really easy. Um, would go to a restaurant, order a burger without the bun, maybe a side salad. It's easy, honestly. I mean, if you have your mind made up that this is your lifestyle and this is how you want to eat and this is what makes you feel the best and healthy and everything, then it's pretty easy if you make that decision. So yeah, I pretty much did really, really good with my food, felt really good all through vacation. I did drink alcohol. Um, so this was a little frustrating. So normally at home, if I were going to drink alcohol, so I don't do a lot of like vodka, rum, whiskey, tequila, that kind of stuff, because I don't tolerate it very well. It hits me a little harder than what I need to experience. Because I know a lot of people on keto or carnivore, they might do like, rum and Diet Coke or like vodka soda or, things like that that are technically zero carb. Um, I'm used to drinking seltzers. And so it was so frustrating because at home, if I'm drinking, I used to drink Corona seltzers, which are zero carbs. They stopped making them. And I discovered that when we went to Arizona, because when I went to the store and I was trying to find the Corona seltzers, we couldn't find them anywhere. And I was pretty like not happy about that. So next best thing is I got White Claw, which has 2 carbs per can. So it is what it is. What I will say before y'all start blowing up my comments, no alcohol is healthy, no alcohol is good. So with keto, just a quick little education piece about drinking alcohol. So when you stop eating carbs and your body starts processing fat for energy, that all happens in your liver. So your liver, helps to process the fat, produce ketones, put you into ketosis. When you drink alcohol, it does not matter if it is 0 carb, 2 carb, whatever. Even if you're drinking a 0 carb alcohol, when you drink alcohol, your body will stop burning fat at that time because your liver says, oh, I've got some alcohol coming in here. I need to do something with this. So when you are drinking alcohol, you are not processing fat like you normally would. So your liver has to take care of that alcohol first. And then once the alcohol is taken care of, then your body will go back to processing the fat. So it's kind of like a pause. It's a pause on your fat burning abilities in your body when you drink alcohol. So that's why, like if you're drinking every single day, if you're drinking alcohol every day, you are not allowing your liver to have a break so that it can process the fat. So even if you are drinking 0 carb alcohol, it's still alcohol. It's still going to affect your progress. It's still going to have an effect on everything. So now with that being said, it's a lot easier for your body to recover from drinking a 0 carb alcohol versus if you're going to drink something that is super high in sugar. Like if you're going on vacation and you're drinking a bunch of pina coladas and margaritas and rum runners and all of these, high sugar drinks, it's going to take you a while to get back on track with your keto plan because you are loading your body up with sugar and your body's going to have to get rid of that before it can even think about trying to start processing fat again. So, general rule for me, I know that alcohol is not healthy. Please do not blow up my comments and tell me all this crap about, how dare you talk about alcohol. I drink alcohol. Not every day. I like to drink it socially on weekends, and I like to drink it when I'm on vacation. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that because I've got control of it. So, with all of that being said, yes, I do drink low carb alcohol. And I know it's not good for me, but on vacation, I do it. That was kind of really the worst thing that I could say that I did as far as health wise when I was on vacation. But I'll tell you what, I felt pretty good every day. It didn't make me feel horrible. And when I got home, normally when I get home from vacation, I'd gain 10 pounds. I gained 2 pounds on vacation, which that could be just basically water weight. I mean, that is like not a big deal. So I was pretty happy about that. So, while I was on vacation, I was eating a lot of things I didn't normally eat every day, like a lot of vegetables. I was eating a lot of vegetables and salads and stuff like that. But otherwise, I just focused on, meat, eggs, cheese, that kind of stuff, dairy. So yeah, that was my vacation experience, and it was a pretty good one. So after getting home, getting back into reality and real life and everything, I mean, I was still kind of eating, keto foods, but really for the most part, just focusing on meat heavy eating plan, ketovore. I kind of, I got rid of all that processed stuff. And at some point, and I'm having a hard time even remembering how we got to this because my husband and I started talking about food sensitivities. Um, we both struggle with issues. So, like I've mentioned, I have had IBS, which causes all kinds of, issues with the stomach. My husband has ulcerative colitis, which I will talk more about that a little bit later in the video because I have a lot to say about that. But so needless to say, we both have had lots of issues with foods that cause problems for us. So as long as my husband has had ulcerative colitis, he has not been able to tolerate vegetables. I mean, maybe green beans, but anything else, I mean, basically his gastroenterologist, when he was diagnosed, told him basically you just need to stay away from fiber. So, I mean, for him, he has had a very limited eating plan for a long time. But anyway, what I'm getting at is we started talking about food sensitivities, and we decided that we both wanted to do a food sensitivity test. So we did. We both did. It was very interesting. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about that on here because I did an entire video reviewing the whole process, my results. It was in April of 2022 that we did the sensitivity test. We both did it at the same time, did it together, mailed it in, got our results back. And then I did a video just going over all of my results. So I will put that in the comments down below if you would like to watch that. It was interesting. But like I said, I'm not going to go into too much detail about that right now because I have a really long, very detailed video that you can go watch and learn all about that. Okay, so I'm at a point where I'm just going to talk about my husband's ulcerative colitis. So it was a lot of years ago. It was like, I think I want to say it was in 2010 or around in there somewhere. He had a respiratory infection. And so he was prescribed antibiotics. And unfortunately, this particular antibiotic, if you look at the package, it actually says may cause deadly bowel disease. It says that because fast forward a few years when I was prescribed that medication and I read the package, and it says that may cause deadly bowel disease. And this is a very common antibiotic that is prescribed all the time to people for respiratory infections. So that antibiotic triggered an immune response in his body. Long story short, it caused him to develop ulcerative colitis. So, if you don't know what ulcerative colitis is, it's like an autoimmune condition. It is an inflammatory bowel disease, and there is no cure. It never goes away. It is in the same family as Crohn's disease. So, if you know anybody with um, Crohn's disease is an inflammatory bowel disease that affects your entire GI system, like from your mouth, your throat, your stomach, your intestines, everything. Ulcerative colitis is like Crohn's disease, but it is just the colon. And so what happens is um, basically bleeding ulcers form in the colon. And so it was quite a process to figure out what had happened with him. He was having like pure blood stools. I mean, he lost a bunch of weight. It was like he couldn't keep anything in his system. It was pretty terrifying. We didn't really know what was going on at the time, but lots of testing, lots of stuff. We learned that he had developed ulcerative colitis. There's no cure for it. His doctor put him on medications that he would be on for the rest of his life and basically told him no fruits, no vegetables, no fiber. It's like a trial and error kind of thing to try to figure out what foods you can tolerate and what can't. And the important thing about it is that, if you're constantly eating foods that your body can't tolerate and you're constantly having bleeding ulcers forming in your colon, I mean, your colon can only handle so much. And so it puts you at a very high risk for colon cancer. And a lot of people end up having to have their colon removed, and then that cures it. That gets rid of it. I mean, you don't have ulcerative colitis anymore, but then you don't have a colon, and then you have to have a bag that, instead of going to the bathroom, you have a bag. So it was a pretty upsetting thing when this all first happened, but he has done wonderful with it through the years. He's been really good with, just trying to eat the things that he's supposed to eat and avoid the things he shouldn't have, and taking his medications like he's supposed to. And when you have ulcerative colitis, you have to get a colonoscopy frequently because they really need to monitor your colon, because like I said, it increases your risk for colon cancer. So it is pretty stressful, but every time he would go and have his colonoscopy done, it would not be normal. It would show inflammation in his colon. It would show, all the normal stuff, the redness. So yeah, there was never a normal colonoscopy, no matter how he tried to just eat like you're supposed to eat and follow the recommendations. He just never could get a normal colonoscopy, and he could never have normal bowel movements. Like, I know he does not care that I'm sharing this because it's, he is kind of like me. Like, we just like to share things to educate people, and if it helps someone, then that's awesome. So I know he doesn't care that I'm sharing all of this, but it was basically he never had a solid bowel movement, like, for all the time since he had been diagnosed. And at one point, I mean, so after I started following ketovore, carnivore, I'm in a lot of different support groups, and I've heard a lot of testimonies from people who follow either keto or carnivore, who have put their ulcerative colitis or their Crohn's in remission by following keto or carnivore. And so I had told him about this. I'm like, man, there's, all these people experiencing all of these benefits from, eating this way. Maybe you should try it. And he did not want to. He did not want to because he loved sugar. Like, he ate a lot of foods that were high sugar, high carb foods, and he just didn't want to give them up. And he did at one point. He did try. He lasted like 2 days. And then actually, I don't even know if he had lasted 2 days. I think he maybe lasted one day. And by the end of the day, he was like, I can't stand this. I gotta eat. I gotta eat my cereal, or I gotta eat my, fruit snacks or whatever. So it was, not something that he really wanted to do. He knew that there was, research out there to support that it could possibly help him, but he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to make that change. And then in May, so May is our anniversary month. So, oh, it's one of my favorite months because it usually means that the two of us get to go on a vacation, just us. And I love that because, we love spending time together. We have fun. We enjoy being together. And it's just, we're the same when it comes to vacation. We both just like to relax. We are not people that go on vacation and do all this crazy adventurous stuff. We just like to relax. And so in May, it was our anniversary. And so we were going on vacation. And he decided, I'm ready to go keto before we went on vacation. And I'm like, well, maybe you should wait till we get back from vacation because that might be, challenging for you to do that. And he was like, nope. He was like, no time like the present. And so in May, and I think it might have actually been the day that we left for vacation, he went keto and he stayed keto through vacation. So did I. I mean, I had made up my mind that that was my plan, that I was going to always just stay keto. And so first day of vacation, he went keto. And while we were on vacation, he basically ate chicken wings, burgers, and we had pork rinds. We took stuff with us on vacation. We took carnivore crisps, we took chomps, meat sticks, and we took pork king good pork rinds with us. And we had this big stash of just like meat snacks in the hotel room. And it was good because we were able to drive for this vacation. We ended up going to Oklahoma. We went to the Choctaw Casino Resort in Durant, Oklahoma. And I don't know if I say that right. Durant, I'm not sure. But anyway, it was amazing. And again, I did an entire video about our vacation. I did a tour of the hotel, the casino, the pool, like all of that stuff. But it was an amazing, amazing vacation. Like we definitely want to go back there. And the best part was that we were able to drive, which I hate flying. So driving was awesome. I was really impressed that I was impressed. He went keto the beginning of vacation, stayed keto throughout the vacation. And I don't think he ever actually experienced keto flu, but we had electrolytes with us. He drank lots of water. He's always good about hydrating. We would get up in the morning. We would eat breakfast in the hotel room, which consisted of meat sticks, meat chips, pork rinds. We would eat all of that stuff and we would go exercise. And then we would go spend the day at the pool. And then we would go back to our room, get ready, and then we would go out to eat dinner somewhere. So we really were just eating like really just one meal a day. But we had like our snacks in the hotel room. But it was pretty easy. It was easy for me because I've been doing it for a while, but for him, he didn't really struggle, which I was so impressed. And so he's been keto ever since. And I have to say, this is the most exciting news that I could possibly share on this video. It's the most exciting thing that happened last year in 2022. So he went keto in May, stayed keto ever since then. He's been keto since then. He actually shares this with people that it's so exciting that he finally has normal bowel movements. Like, since he had the colitis, it was never solid and he never had normal bowel movements. And finally, like it's normal. He doesn't have the stomach issues that he has had for years now from the colitis. And so in October of, of 2022, he went for his routine colonoscopy. And for the first time since being diagnosed with colitis, for the very first time, he had a normal colonoscopy. His doctor said there was no indication of inflammation, no signs of ulcers, no signs of inflammation. And he said that there was no signs of colitis. And he said that his ulcerative colitis is in complete remission. Just knowing how much of a struggle this has been for him and how scary it has been for him. I'm getting kind of tearful. Sorry, I had to take a quick break for a minute there because I didn't realize that how much that would affect me. But just knowing what he's been through and how hard things have been and how scary things have been, for him to be told that his colitis is in complete remission, it was amazing. His doctors said, keep doing what you're doing. And so he's going to keep doing what he's doing, and he is going to keep following keto because it honestly has changed his life. And it possibly, well, not possibly, it definitely has saved his colon, because we have, over the years, we have done a lot of talking about the future and just accepting that at some point we believed that he would have to have his colon removed and he would have a bag. And I've always, reassured him that, it was going to be okay. And now it's just exciting because that's probably not going to happen because he has saved his colon. So anyway, that is the top story of 2022. My husband went keto and he put his ulcerative colitis in remission in just a few months. I mean, he started keto in May, June, July, August, September, October, 5 months. He had his colonoscopy in October, 5 months. I mean, I think it actually happened before October because, he was noticing that he was feeling better, but we had the confirmation in October that he was better. So it's amazing. Okay, so on to the next topic. It's kind of hard to beat that because it was so exciting. But so anyway, we did our vacation in May. And then so in June is kind of my month where I get my checkup. So went to the doctor, my normal routine stuff, getting my blood work done, getting my thyroid checked, getting my cholesterol checked. Everything was awesome. My HDL on my cholesterol was so high. I mean, it was over 100. I can't remember what it was right now, but my doctor was impressed. My triglycerides were pretty good. My total cholesterol was considered high, but that's because my HDL, or my good cholesterol, was high. So my cholesterol was good. I think I did a video about that. I'll have to go back and see. If I find it, then I'll put a link down below. But I reviewed my lab results in June. I think that was this last year. Anyway, so it was all good. My thyroid labs were good, everything. The one thing that I talked to my doctor about at that time just was, how just tired I was. My entire life, I feel like I've been tired. I've always struggled with sleep. And so quite a few years ago, I can't remember what year it was or how many years ago it was, but it was quite a few years ago. I did get evaluated by a sleep doctor for sleep apnea just because of my forever tiredness, my forever chronic tiredness and fatigue. And so I did a sleep study many years ago. God, I wish I could remember what year that was, but I don't. And I wasn't tracking things back then. So I did a sleep study. And what it showed was I did stop breathing in my sleep, but it wasn't enough times or long enough to be considered to have sleep apnea. And I should also mention that one of the main reasons that I talked to my doctor about this years ago was because my husband noticed that I would stop breathing in my sleep and it scared him. So that was initially what led me to get the sleep study years ago because he was like, you stop breathing. It's like, it's very scary. So that's why lots of years ago I went and got that sleep test done. But it was like I didn't stop breathing long enough or um, frequently enough to be considered to have sleep apnea. So we just kind of just pushed that to the side. It's like, okay, I don't have sleep apnea. And we just kind of forgot about it. And so in June of 2022, when I was talking to my doctor about that, she was like, it's been a long time since we've done a sleep study. Maybe we should just do that. Maybe we should try that again. So she referred me to a sleep doctor, which I went and saw her in July. And she was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do a home sleep study. And so, which is nice that you can do it at home. I was happy about that because I didn't want to have to stay in the facility. So I had my appointment scheduled in August, and it just so happened on that day in August, when I was going to get my sleep study done. Um, oh, that's Oakley. I think he's probably going to come in and say hi. Yep, there he is. You want to say hi? Say hi. Hello, friends. What's up? He gets very confused when I do this because he can see me in the screen and I'm like talking and he's always, oh, he sees himself. He sees it. He sees himself and he's, oh, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause this for a minute. Okay, oh my goodness. He's better now. He gets really excited when he sees other dogs. And he's been going to a boarding place and playing with other dogs a lot lately. And so he gets yeah, he gets really excited. So he's eating now. I imagine he'll be coming back soon. So I might have to take another break. But so anyway, I had my appointment scheduled in August to go do the home sleep study thing. And then the day that we were going for our appointment, so my husband went with me. We decided we were going to go out for lunch and I was going to go to my appointment. And we, so my doctor is like an hour drive from home. So we got there and we stopped somewhere and my Jeep died. It was like, had this check service transmission thing. It was this whole big deal. It was a nightmare. Long story short, we didn't make my appointment. I had to call and I had to reschedule it because my Jeep was a disaster. We had to figure out how to get it back home an hour away. It was in the shop. It was in the shop for a couple weeks. It was just a big disaster. But anyway, long story short with that, they fixed it, got it all better. So anyway, but it was a pain. It was a pain in the butt. And luckily I work from home and it was okay that I didn't have a vehicle for like, I don't know, it was weeks because then I had another incident happen where someone ran into me. I had my car parked somewhere. Someone ran into my car. They put a dent in the door and they drove off. And so I got the transmission issue fixed, which ended up being like a computer type thing. And then I got that fixed and then I had to take it in and get my door fixed. And so it was like, I want to say like a month without a car. It was ridiculous. So anyway, I had to reschedule that home sleep study for a later time, which ended up being in September. So now I'm going to get into like the crazy stuff that led up to me having surgery. And I apologize, this video is going to be really long. I did not realize how much I had to talk about from 2022, but I have a lot to say apparently, and I'm hoping that I can, keep this somewhat short. But so the beginning of August, I felt pretty good. Like I was feeling good. My tummy was where I wanted it. It was nice and flat, and I was feeling pretty good. And um, things started changing. Like August, like the beginning of August, I was like at one point, and then by the end of August, it's like, I don't know, I just felt like my stomach kept getting bigger, like, and I couldn't figure out why because I was doing really good with my eating plan. I was exercising. I mean, I generally exercise usually about 6 days a week. I do a lot of weightlifting. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you know that I exercise regularly. I was eating pretty good. It didn't make sense. Um, oh, he's back again. He probably wants to go outside now because he just got done eating. So I'm going to take a break and then I'll come back and finish that story. Okay, so I'm back. Oakley had his supper. He went outside, did all of his business, and he is now in the basement having some alone time on his own, by the way. That's not because I'm making him be down there, but um, hopefully we'll not have any more episodes for a while. So while we were outside, I realized that there was a huge, huge thing that I forgot to tell you about. Um, in May of 2022, I can't really remember if it was before or after we went on vacation, but in May, we had a pool installed, not an in-ground pool, but like one of the permanent above ground pools. And that was exciting. That was really exciting. I can't believe I forgot to tell you about that. Again, I do have a video of that whole process. So I won't go into too many details about that because this video is already going to be so long, but I will put a link down below if you want to check out that video because it was kind of a cool process. So anyway, so back to what I was saying. So in August, the month started out really good. I felt really good. Things were good. And then slowly throughout the month, I started to just not feel very good. Felt like my belly was getting bigger, bloated. Like, I don't know, I had these weird pains and pressure happening. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. I thought, man, what is going on? I'm eating right. I am exercising. It did not make any sense. I didn't know what was happening. And so I thought, well, maybe I need to get more strict with my diet. So then I thought in September, I'm going to do this challenge. And some of you might remember this because I started out doing some videos of it. I was going to try to give up sweeteners. It's going to try to give up stevia. I mean, I've already been eating pretty much meat-based anyway, but I still have my stevia because I like my flavored electrolyte drinks. Sometimes I like to put stevia and cinnamon on my butter, things like that. So I just thought, well, maybe I need to stop doing stevia. Maybe that's doing something to me. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, so I decided I was going to do this challenge in September. I was going to start a new workout. I thought maybe that would help really get committed to, following a strict exercise program because I had been just doing my usual routine upper body, lower body workouts that I normally like to do. And I thought, well, I'm just going to commit to an actual program in September. I am going to do this challenge. I'm going to do carnivore with no stevia. I was all gung ho about it because I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but something is keeping me from feeling my best. And my belly is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I could not understand why. And it was really weird because one night I was laying in bed and I felt like this big lump in my belly. And it was like literally this big, hard, like bump was protruding out of my belly. And it was the strangest thing. And so I thought, maybe it's my fibroids. So I'm going to try to make this brief and short. But back in 2014, when I went for my normal female exam, my annual exam, my doctor noticed that she felt some lumps that shouldn't be down there. So we did an ultrasound, discovered that I had some fibroids growing on my uterus. Now, this is very common. If you're not familiar with this, a very high percentage of women out there have fibroids on their uterus. A lot of them don't even know it, because if they don't grow and cause problems, then you never know that you had them. But they're not cancerous. It's just like this muscle tumor. It's like just this overgrowth of your uterus cells or muscle or whatever that starts to grow. And they're common. They can grow on the inside, the outside. They can grow anywhere on your uterus, and they are super common. At that time, they were very small. They weren't, that concerning. So we just were like, okay, well, they're there, but they're not causing any problems. Fast forward to 2018, which was 4 years later. I've been having a lot of bladder issues, a lot of increased frequency with urination, a lot of discomfort in my belly that I automatically would just assumed it was from my IBS. And I actually asked my doctor, can we do another ultrasound just to see what's going on with my fibroids? Because I was having all of these weird bladder things going on, weird bowel things going on, which, I just thought was my IBS. Anyway, did another ultrasound in 2018, and my fibroids had basically doubled in size. But at that point, they were still not that big. And so, I asked my doctor, so do you think that this might be causing some of my bladder problems? And her response was, no, they're not really big enough to really be a concern at this point. So, okay. So that was in 2018. So I really hadn't, thought much of them or, anything for quite a few years. And then 2022, here we are in September, 4 years later, which is so strange, but 4 years after the previous ultrasound that I had. And so I had an appointment coming up early September with my doctor to have my routine annual exam. Sorry, guys, if there's guys watching this, lots of girl talk coming up here. So I apologize if that's, uncomfortable for you, but it is what it is. This is my, this is my year. So I sent a message to my doctor and said, hey, I have an appointment coming up next week for my exam. I'm having some real crazy issues going on. Can we do an ultrasound that same day when I come in? Because I think something's going on with my fibroids. So she ordered it. And so I went, had the ultrasound done. By this point, I mean, I was miserable. I mean, like, the pain and pressure in my belly was getting so big. It was miserable. I was having nausea. I was having just a lot of weird things going on. But so I got my ultrasound done. Sorry, I'm kind of twisting my back here. I've been in this chair for a while. So had the ultrasound, went and saw my doctor, and she's like, wow. She's like, your fibroids have increased and you need to have a hysterectomy. Like, there is no other solution for what you have going on. So I was like, well, that makes total sense. That I suspected something was happening with them. The one fibroid that was growing off the top of my uterus was 12 centimeters, which is about 5 inches. So, I mean, 5 inches isn't really that big, but when you consider it's all crammed in this little belly here, it's pretty big. So it was pushing on things. And then it all of a sudden made sense that for about a year, I had been having really bad low back pain. And I thought that was weird because I didn't injure it. I didn't have anything happen. I didn't have, any reason why all of a sudden I was having this horrible low back pain. But all of a sudden it made sense, because that is common with fibroids, because they grow and they push on your nerves. And it was causing me really bad back pain. So I had to schedule an appointment with the surgeon, but I couldn't get in for a few weeks because it was a whole issue just trying to get off work. And so I had to schedule it out a couple weeks ahead of time. And so, again, just a side note, I canceled that appointment. I had for the home sleep study because I knew I had a whole big thing coming up. And I was going to need to preserve as many of my paid days off of work as I possibly could because I didn't really have very many left. And I knew, oh my God, I'm going to have surgery. It was just this big thing. So I canceled the sleep study, had to wait a couple of weeks to go see the surgeon. And then, so it was like the end of September that I had my appointment with him. And he examined me and everything. And he was like, okay, so your belly right now is the size that it would be if you were 18 weeks pregnant, is what he told me. And I was like, wow, well, I feel that. I feel that way. With him saying that, what I thought he was saying was that my uterus was that big. I just thought that maybe the fibroids were going on the inside and the outside. And I just thought that, okay, my uterus is that big. Well, come to find out, it wasn't that my uterus was that big. It was that one of the fibroids was that big. It was huge. And so it made me look like I was 18 weeks pregnant. And all I could think was, just get it out. Just get it out. I just want it out. I just want this miserable pain and pressure to go away. Want my back pain to go away. And so the frustrating thing was this was the end of September. The soonest date they had available at the surgery center that he could do my surgery was in November. So I wanted to cry because I was like, you mean to tell me I still have to wait 2 months? I have to still feel this way for 2 more months before I can have surgery. So it was awful. It was awful. I was having worse bladder problems than I had ever had before. I had this horrible pain and pressure in my belly. Everything was pushing on everything. My back pain was so unbearable. I mean, I literally, like, I wanted to cry trying to get out of bed in the morning because it was just, oh my gosh. I was putting lidocaine menthol patches on my back every night before bed. Didn't really help, but it maybe made it feel a little bit better, but it didn't really help. So anyway, I am going to take a break from talking for a minute because I want to show you a picture. So first I want to show you a picture of what fibroids look like. I mean, just generally, I apologize to the guys out there. I know this is a lot of girl stuff, but a lot of people don't know what fibroids are, and they're so super common. You would think that everybody would know about them, right? But like I said, they're non-cancerous. They're very common. Lots of women have them. And they are just these abnormal growths that come off of the uterus. So let me take a break for just a minute here, and I'm going to show you a picture that I found on the internet of what a fibroids basically look like. Okay, so you can see from that picture, it's just like a cartoon picture of a uterus with fibroids growing in various places. So I had I had some growing on the outside, like all over my uterus, and then I had one growing, a great big one off of the top. I'm going to share a picture later. um, and so anyway, I'll get to that. But the next picture that I want to show you is just to show you how my belly changed. So the first picture is the beginning of August, and you can see that my belly is flat. And then the end of August, and then fast forward to October. Um, it's just crazy to me. It really is just crazy to me. Okay, so you can see that things changed pretty fast. Like from the beginning to August to the end of August, I was like, what has happened to my body? So changed pretty fast. So I had 2 months that I needed to just survive the pain and the pressure that I was feeling. And so I don't know. I was online like searching for everything that I could possibly find. Lots of resources talking about eating certain vegetables and different supplements and I don't know, just all these things. And so, of course, I was like, why not? I'll try it. So I started eating more vegetables. I should have known better. I mean, it's total nonsense, but started eating more vegetables, cut back on red meat, started eating more fish and chicken. I know, stupid, but I don't know. I was desperate and I was like trying to find all of these things that could just help me get through. So I was like eating, these weird things. It didn't help. It didn't make any difference. And so I don't know why I even bothered, but I got through it. I don't know how I survived. I was miserable. I can't even explain it. I, I, I've never really had a major surgery. I mean, I had surgery for deviated nasal septum. I had my tonsils taken out, and that has been the extent of surgery that I've ever had. So I was scared. Even though I'm a nurse, I don't know. There's just something about when it's you, you just, I don't know. I was terrified. I, had heard horror stories about, just different things with hysterectomies and hemorrhaging and stuff like that. And I was scared. And the other thing about it was that my surgeon told me that because my one fibroid was so large, he was not going to be able to do it like vaginally, laparoscopically, or, anything like that. He basically was like, I'm going to have to cut your belly open. So that made it even worse because I was going to have to spend 2 nights in the hospital, and it ended up, it was going to be more of a major surgery. So I was scared. I spent, those 2 months, like it was just this emotional roller coaster because I wanted surgery so bad because I just wanted the pain and the pressure to be gone. At the same time, I was terrified. So I was like so scared to have surgery. So it was a roller coaster of emotions for a couple of months there. And of course, I had people, messaging me on my Instagram and my Facebook, like, oh, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. You don't want to have a hysterectomy. Oh my God, what if you want to have kids? Oh my God, don't let anybody cut you open. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm 47 years old. And I appreciate that there are people out there who actually think that I am still at an age where I am going to be able to have children, but come on. 47 years old, I am not thinking about having kids. So that was not even an issue. And I mean, I was at a point where I was okay with it. I mean, I know there's people out there who just are so against surgery or having anything done to your body. And I'm like, you don't know what I'm feeling. You don't know what I'm going through. So, you know what? It's my body and this is what I need to do. So, I wanted it done. So, and then the other frustrating thing was my surgeon said to me, why did you wait so long? Why did you wait until now to, have something done? And I'm like, well, for one thing, I wasn't having any symptoms as far as I knew. I mean, I didn't think I was. He reviewed my chart, went through everything, and, he saw that I had my ultrasounds in 2014, 2018. My fibroids were getting bigger. And he was like, you should have had this taken care of probably in 2014 or at least 2018. If you would have had it done then, we wouldn't have to cut you open because the fibroids wouldn't be so huge. And I'm like, well, you know, obviously I questioned this and my doctor wasn't concerned, didn't think they were large enough to be causing any issues. And so he was like, well, I'm really sorry, but you were definitely misled. He said, all of the symptoms you've been having, your bladder, your belly symptoms, all of the things that have been going on since 2014 were very likely related to your fibroids. And if you would have had this done back then, it would not be as major of a surgery. So that kind of pissed me off because I'm thinking, I could have taken care of this back in 2018 when I questioned it. And when I was told that it wasn't anything to be worried about. But anyway, it is what it is. It's done. So, fast forward to November. um, had the surgery done. I went into the surgery thinking there's no way that the pain after my surgery could possibly be any worse than the pain that I was feeling before surgery. And I was wrong. I was naive. I was ignorant to think that I was not going to be in very severe pain after surgery. And part of the reason why I'm sharing all of these details is because I have had a lot of women have messaged me on Instagram and Facebook, either because they've been through it, or I've had quite a few women who have messaged me with questions because they were getting ready to go through it, and to actually just hear my experience has been helpful for them. So that's part of why I'm just giving so much detail about the surgery itself. So he told me I would be spending, 2 nights in the hospital. And so I, the first day after I woke up from surgery, it was pain that I cannot even explain. Like, it hurt so much more than I ever imagined that it was going to hurt. Obviously my belly was cut, pretty far open. He told me that if I had waited any longer, he would have had to cut me top to bottom to be able to get the fibroid out because it was so large. So thankfully I got it done in time to where he was able to do a bikini cut across my belly, which is still very, very bad and painful. But part of my recovery was that I didn't really want to be on a lot of narcotic pain medications. I just didn't want to. And so I tried to control my pain during the day with Tylenol and ibuprofen, and then save the strong stuff for at night to help me sleep. And so that's pretty much what I did for the whole recovery. So the first day I woke up in the hospital, I was, well, I should say the day of surgery. The day of surgery, I woke up, I was thankful to be alive because I was so scared of the surgery. And so pretty much that first day in the hospital, I just slept. I was exhausted. I was so tired. I couldn't hardly keep my eyes open. And then got a little bit better throughout the day. And then that night, so this was a little frustrating because I was really wanting to just, stick with my eating plan in the hospital. And for the most part, I did, except that night that I spent in the hospital, that first night, I needed to take ibuprofen and my pain pills, which, if you know from my history, I have some damage in my stomach from taking too much ibuprofen for migraine headaches in the past. So I'm not really supposed to take ibuprofen, but that was my only option. It was either the narcotics or it was ibuprofen. So I took ibuprofen during the night. I alternated it with my pain meds, but I needed to eat something. And so in the middle of the night, the kitchen's closed. So I ate saltine crackers. I ended up throughout the night, every time I had ibuprofen or a pain pill, I had the nurse bring me some saltine crackers. So that was, not ideal. But, at that point, I'm like, I'm going to do what I got to do. And then just rewind a little bit so that night, the night of my surgery, the surgeon actually told me I could start eating regular food that night, but I was not hungry. I did not want anything. So all I ordered was chicken broth and sugar-free Jell-O. And what they brought me was diet Jell-O, and it had I don't know, 20 or 30 grams of sugar in it. I'm like, this is not what I wanted. So I ended up not eating the Jell-O. I ate the chicken broth, or drank the chicken broth, for dinner, and that was my dinner for that night. And so then, like I said, during the night when I took my pain medications, I had some saltine crackers. I drank lots and lots of water. Did not sleep well at all because, they come and they wake you up every 4 hours. And I know that because I'm a nurse. I've worked in the hospital and I know what it's like being on the other end of it. But being the patient, it was very frustrating because I just wanted to sleep. Um, so anyway, the next morning, the nurse came in, she took my catheter out, basically told me that all of the things that I needed to do before I could go home was I needed to be able to pee on my own after having the catheter out, needed to pass gas, and I needed to be able to eat solid food without feeling any nausea or without vomiting. So those were the things I needed to do to go home. So I did all of those things. I ate bacon and eggs for breakfast. I was able to get up and pee, which a little bit scary at first because I was kind of having some trouble getting going. But once I started going, then I couldn't stop. So I was like peeing all the time. I think in an hour, I was up like maybe 6 times to pee. So that wasn't a problem. And I was like kind of wanting to just go home because I didn't sleep well and I just wanted to go home. And so when the surgeon came in to talk to me, he didn't really think I should go home, but he was like, you've done all the things that I need you to do. If you really feel like that's what you want to do, then I will let you. But he's like, you can stay another night. Anyway, I ended up going home. And so I will just say, the first 2 weeks were horrible, like the worst pain. I tried to stop my pain medications too soon because I felt like I needed to hurry up and get back to work, which is a whole nother story. But, for anyone who is getting ready to have a surgery like this, do not push yourself to go back too soon. I mean, honestly, it's just not worth it. Um, don't be afraid to take the pain medication while you need it. I mean, I don't know. It was a rough 2 weeks. I tried to stop the pain medication too early, and then I ended up a couple days being really miserable and then restarting the pain medication. And then um, I don't know. It was a process. It was quite a process. For those of you, if you are getting ready to have done what I had done, I don't know what it's like for the laparoscopic or vaginal process, but as far as having the incision and being cut open, the ice pack was the most amazing thing for me. Like I laid with ice on my belly pretty much all day, every day. And my husband, being so amazing that he went to the store and bought me extra ice packs so that, I would always have ice packs that I could cycle through. So I could always have an ice pack on my belly because it was the only thing that felt good. I mean, honestly, the pain pills at night didn't really help my pain. They just made me sleep. And the Tylenol and ibuprofen didn't really do anything. So it was really just the ice that helped more than anything. And so it was quite a process. And so then at my 2 week appointment, my follow-up appointment with my surgeon, I was doing okay. And I made a comment to him about, comparing what I had done to a cesarean section because a lot of people had said to me, "Oh, that's just like having a cesarean section done. I had that done, blah, blah, blah. No big deal, whatever." So I said something to him to compare it to having a cesarean section, and he just started laughing. And he's like, "What I did to you is so much worse than a cesarean section." He's like, "I do both. I do lots of cesarean sections. I do lots of hysterectomies." And he was like, "What I had to do to you, with everything you had going on with that giant fibroid, with all of that stuff, you cannot even compare it to having a cesarean section done." So, that made more sense to me because I was like, man, why am I struggling so bad to feel better? Why am I in so much pain? Why am I having such a hard time, recovering from this? Because, everybody said it's not that bad recovering from a cesarean section. And I was having a hard time. And so that made me feel a little bit better just knowing that, it was a lot worse. than what people were telling me or what people were trying to make me believe. It was a lot bigger procedure. It was a pretty major surgery. So that made me feel a little bit better about the fact that I was having a really hard time recovering and feeling better. I also want to mention that when I woke up from surgery and then for the almost, a couple weeks after surgery, I had no back pain. And so that kind of, was like, well, that confirms that my severe back pain was because of this giant fibroid pushing on my nerves. And so my back pain was completely gone and I was so happy. I was just like, finally. And then it's like a couple weeks after I had the surgery, slowly my back pain started to come back. So as of right now, I have back pain again. I don't really exactly know why. um, but it's not as severe as it was before surgery. So at my 2-week appointment, I feel like I kind of had it in my mind before I even had surgery that I was going to go back to work after 2 weeks. It was just in my mind. I felt like that's what I had to do. I felt like that's what I needed to do. And so, regardless of how horrible I still felt, I requested that he release me to go back to work at 2 weeks because I work from home. I work a desk job. Um, he thought it was a terrible idea. He was like, you are not ready. He's like, you need rest. You need to just rest your body. That is what you need right now. And I'm like, I know, but this is what I have to do. I need to go back to work. It's like, I have no choice. I have to go back to work now. And so I don't know what it was that I just had this feeling that was required of me, that I needed to go back. And so he was very hesitant and he was like, I'm going to put in your notes that I am not in favor of this, but because you're requesting it, I'm going to let you. But just so you know, if you change your mind, then we can revisit this and we can change things. So I was stubborn and I insisted. And so he let me go back. He was like, let's take tomorrow as a test day. You kind of, have a full day, sit at your computer, do some things that you need to do, whatever, and see how you feel, see how it goes. And then just, if you decide that you've changed your mind and you're not ready to go back, then call me and let me know. And of course, I had my mind made up that this is what I was going to do. And he also, told I wanted to start exercising again. I thought that would make me feel better. And I was on lifting restrictions, couldn't lift anything heavier than 15 pounds for 6 weeks. But he's like, if you want to start walking on the treadmill, that's fine. So I did that the next day. Totally wiped me out. It was not a good idea. I didn't do that again for I think a couple of weeks because it was exhausting and it increased my pain. So, took a break from that, but I did go back to work the next day. And so I think it was on a Thursday. I can't remember. It was either a Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know. The days all run together. But anyway, it was the most horrible long day. I was exhausted. I was wiped out. I was like, what have I done? I shouldn't have done this. But I felt like I had no choice. So I stuck through it. The next day was equally as hard. I really struggled through those first few days. And then the next week, it was exhausting because I needed to take breaks to put ice on my belly. I was exhausted. My body was wiped out. The moral of this story is do not push yourself to go back to work too soon. I did. I shouldn't have. I survived. I'm doing fine now, but it was rough. So anyway, so I mean, really, the few weeks after that, the most frustrating thing was the lifting restrictions because I couldn't lift anything like like even to lift my Instant Pot, I had to have my husband do that. I couldn't lift the dog bed. I had to have him do that. I couldn't lift a basket of clothes. I was doing laundry, like carrying clothes from room to room. It was just very frustrating. I felt very helpless. Um, so I was very excited when my 6 week appointment finally came and I was able to go see my surgeon. He lifted all of my lifting restrictions, told me I could go back to all of my normal activity, still having pain, but just he told me that it would take a full 12 weeks before my belly and my incision and everything was completely healed. So, wow. So at my follow-up visit for my 6 week post-op visit, I mentioned him that I was having back pain again, which he was very surprised by that. Couldn't really explain it. And I'm like, well, maybe I just have something else going on with my back that is unrelated to the fibroids or the surgery or anything. And, he thought that was weird because since my back pain completely went away after surgery for a couple of weeks, it seemed then weird that it would then come back. So he did do an ultrasound that day just to make sure that there was nothing going on and it was fine. But anyway, I'm currently dealing with back pain. So my plan is once I get healed up just a little bit better, I'm going to go get a massage. I'm going to go to the chiropractor. I've been trying to do stretching, started lifting weights again, just trying to get back to being more active. So that is my very, very long story about the surgery. And at the end of this video, I am going to share some pictures with you. And I realize that there are people who don't want to see pictures. But if you are interested in seeing the pictures, I'm going to share them. I have pictures of my progress of my incision healing, what it looked like, right after surgery, and then the progression of that and how it is now. So just this last Tuesday was 7 weeks. So I did some, photos just where I am now. So I'm going to show you some pictures of like the day before I went in for surgery, and then a picture of how my belly is looking now as I'm recovering from surgery, which is still very, very frustrating because my belly is still not back to its normal size, but I know it'll get there. So I have pictures of that, just the progress photo of my belly, my incision. And then I have a picture of what was removed from my belly. And it is a very gross picture. So the reason I'm putting all of those pictures at the very end of the video is because I want you to know that if you don't want to see those gross pictures, then just stop the video and I'll give you a little warning again before we get to those. But when you look at the picture, I have it labeled so that, it's kind of hard to know what you're looking at if you don't have it labeled, but the picture shows I have a very small uterus. It has fibroids growing all over the outside of it. My cervix, it also has fibroids growing on it. And then this giant fibroid growing off the top. So there is a picture just to give you an idea of what all that looked like. Uh-oh, here he comes again. He is going to see himself. Hi, bud. Oh, there he is. There's that dog again. Oh, he doesn't care. Old news. He's not excited about that anymore. So anyway, that'll be at the end of the video. I do just want to mention one more thing before I end this video is once I started to recover and feel better after surgery, I noticed, uh-oh, he sees himself. I might have to take a break here again. Boy, he is not being very smart. I guess he doesn't realize that that's him. Yep, there he is. That is you, Oakley. That is you. That's you. This is me. That's you. Okay, so I'm going to take another break and then I'm going to come back and tell you my last my last thing that I have to tell you about. 2022. Okay. So he is out in the kitchen. You might be able to hear him drinking his water. But anyway, if he comes back, I'll probably have to take another break. um, so anyway, if you follow me on Instagram or on my Facebook page, you know that I wear my Apple Watch to bed and I track my sleep. And so I think it was for Black Friday, I upgraded my sleep app to a premium version because I had been using the free one and they had like this really, really super cheap deal. So I upgraded it. And then I noticed it was then showing me what my oxygen level was, like my blood oxygen level while I'm sleeping. And I noticed that it was not very good. It was like 91, 92, 93%. And it should be better than that, like at least 95 or higher. And then it reminded me, I'm like, oh crap, I need to do that sleep study. So once I started feeling a little bit better after recovering from surgery, I rescheduled my sleep study for December, just in time for the end of the month. And so I did the sleep study, and I'll show you a picture here of how lovely I looked. Okay, so that was fun. So I got that, you know, sleep machine on a Friday. And so they told me to wear it at least a couple of nights over the weekend. So I did. And long story short, I have sleep apnea, which is very frustrating. Um, they said that I stop breathing an average of 9 times an hour. So I have to start using a CPAP machine when I sleep. However, I haven't gotten it yet because apparently they're really behind. So they said that it would probably be a couple of months before they actually can get to me and, get me set up with the machine. So not excited about that, but I guess we'll see how it goes. So that's how I ended the year. I found out that I had surgery. And then, so the last week of December was my 6 week mark. So, and then I found out I had sleep apnea. So, yay. Anyway, so that's it for 2022. What a year. Holy cow. I know this video is so long. I'm so sorry. But anyway, going forward, 2023, I'm just going to focus on mostly eating carnivore, sometimes eating some vegetables if I, feel like it, if I can tolerate it, and exercising like just my normal stuff. And I'm hoping that nothing crazy or unusual happens for 2023. One thing I am doing differently is I am going to be hosting a keto challenge every month in 2023. It's going to be a private Facebook group, going to focus on helping people get started with eating a keto diet, incorporating exercise for those who want to. And then I've been working on it for a very long time. I put together some different guides, tools, printable things. So that's one of the things that I'm kicking off for January is starting a brand new keto challenge. I'm calling it a Fit Keto Challenge, where, I'm just wanting to help people get started with keto, start exercising, and just, have a support group. I know that there are lots of support groups out there, but it seems like there's so many people in them. I'm an introvert, so I like small, small groups of people. So anyway, there will be a link in my link tree down below for each challenge if you ever become interested in joining me with that. And with that being said, I am going to stop talking. I am going to call it good because this was a really long video. So the next picture I'm going to show you is going to be a progress picture showing you what I looked like the day before surgery, and then just a few days ago, I took a progress picture. Okay, so you can see from that picture, I'm making progress. It is slow progress, but definitely I feel so much better not having all of that pressure in my belly. So, you know, the incision is still a little tender. My belly's still a little tender, but like he said, it's going to take a full 12 weeks to be completely healed. Once I get rid of my back pain and once I get rid of, you know, all this tenderness and my, you know, belly gets back to normal, then I'll be so happy. Okay, so the next few pictures, I am going to show progress pictures of my incision for anyone who is interested in seeing that. And then after the incision pictures, I am going to show the actual picture of what he removed. So, like I said, if you do not want to see incision pictures, if you do not want to see the pretty gross other picture, then just stop the video here and just don't watch anymore because I'm not going to talk anymore after this. Um, it's just pictures. So thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this. Um, and I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram and or Facebook. And I am hoping to stick to my plan to do regular videos throughout the new year.